We'll now turn to the seventh objection by a Jesuit named Bourdin. My French is not exactly great, obviously a Frenchman. And remember, Descartes, this was a later set of objections. The meditations were originally published with the first six sets of objections. This was a set that was added later on, but this was very important to Descartes, and was very important to Descartes for two reasons. One of which was his intellectual upbringing. His education was done by the Jesuits, who even to this day are well known. The Jesuits is a sect of Catholicism, for those of you who don't remember, which much of whose effort is dedicated towards education, and especially education at a higher level. Georgetown University, for example, in the United States, is a Jesuit school. That is, it's run by the Jesuits. So it was very important to Descartes to convince the Jesuits that he really had something to contribute to their theology. And remember, the Jesuits at this time were certainly very influential in the Catholic Church, and the Sorbonne, the premier institution in France, was basically populated by devout Catholics, many of whom were, and especially the people to whom Descartes is addressing the meditations, are Catholic theologians, Jesuit theologians. So having said that, let's consider the objection that Bourdin, or however you pronounce his name, raises in the set of seventh objections. And he says, well, wait a second. A lot of things that are certain appear to be doubtful in dreams. And he's going to give us an example. But the fact that something appears doubtful in a dream doesn't really mean that they are anything less than certain. And the point that he is making here is that wacky things happen in dreams. I told you a while back about my elevator dreams, where I'm in an elevator in a very large building, probably the size of the old World Trade Center, coming down, and all of a sudden I'm coming down at a very fast speed, and the elevator starts going out to the left, going out to the right, becoming like a roller coaster, jumping over water, doing all kinds of weird things. And the point that is being pressed here is, from the fact that things appear doubtful in dreams, it doesn't give me any reason for thinking they're anything less than certain. But Bourdin has a better example in this to show why dreaming may not constitute a good reason for actually being doubtful, for thinking that you're less than certain. And he tells a story about somebody he knows that was having a dream, and in the dream, and let me remind you, there's a grandfather clock, or a large clock. You might have seen these in some buildings in Manhattan, where when the clock strikes the hour, the clock in the building actually rings a chime, rings a bell, for the number of times there's the hour that it's hit. So if it's 4 o'clock, it hits the bell 4 times. So he mentioned that there was a guy in his dream was heard one of these clocks going off, and must have been 4 o'clock, because he hears ding, 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 counts it up. And you and I would have come to the conclusion, knowing all of this, that it was 4 o'clock. However, in his dream, this person says, the clock must be broken. It struck 1 o'clock 4 times. Obviously, he jumped to the wrong conclusion. So the point is, from the fact that things look wacky in dreams, we really have no reason for doubting all of the things that Descartes thinks that the dreaming argument implies that we doubt. Now, obviously, Descartes is not stuck. He doesn't say, you're right, I retract my meditations. Well, if that happened, we wouldn't be talking about them today, probably. However, he says, look, what you see, example's kind of interesting, but the person in the dream that you're talking about was not clearly and distinctly, remember, clearly in this, perceiving that the clock struck 1 o'clock 4 times. He wasn't paying proper attention. He wasn't focused. That by itself doesn't mean that the dreaming argument does not give you reasons for doubt. I mean, that's a weird one, but nonetheless, the point still remains that his original description of the situation, that he's had dreams where it looks like he's sitting in front of his fire right at that desk or wherever it was with the piece of paper there, the fire's there, there's stuff written on the piece of paper, and it looks to him like he's sitting down in his study or his living room or whatever, and nonetheless he's and fully clothed, and nonetheless he's upstairs undressed in bed, not anywhere where he thinks he has. So it looks like on this one, interesting objection, interesting clarification, but still it looks like Descartes' point is absolutely well taken.